So it's come to basically my knowledge that I have way too many experiences with God to not share. So I want to share them with the world. Never been on video, don't like it. Always been the guy to not smile in photos and to not really react at all, kind of look away. But like I said, I've had way too many experiences with God that I can't just keep it for myself. As we all know, well, some of us know, most of us should know, that the gifts of the Holy Spirit and any gift from God in general should be shared with not necessarily the world, but all his, all our brothers and sisters, all his children. So the first quote unquote vision, and it was a vision, well, I'll just tell you about it, and you'll, use the gift of discernment through the Holy Spirit to actually verify that what I'm saying is godly. But I was with my buddies, and we were all camping, not camping. We were in Marlette, Michigan, and my buddy's grandfather, he built a lodge out there, and it's beautiful. He had his own, man-made lake. He dug it out, filled it with water, filled it with fish. It's got about 200 to 300 acres where, we generally go and hunt and hang out, ride the quad bikes and all this, all this fun stuff, all the junk. But this time around, my buddies wanted to hang out, and we were going, we were drinking, we were going to go hunting in the morning and whatnot. And for some reason, and we know the reason, you'll know the reason, I kept yawning. I could not stop yawning that whole night. I'm talking every 60 seconds, I was literally letting out a yawn. So come 10:30, 11 o'clock, I told my buddies, I'm like, I have to go to bed. I can't hang. Which, 10:30, 11 with buddies, that's pretty early. So I did. I went to bed, and I was praying in bed. One thing that the Holy Spirit is telling me not to exclude, because there is some controversy about it, and granted, I know what it is and I know what it does. It's an illegal way to access the spirit realm. This was in, I want to say 2017, and I think it was December of that year. Well, we were all on mushrooms, magic mushrooms, so call it what you will. I wasn't as mature of a Christian. I was a brand new Christian, got saved that year, and so I decided to take mushrooms with my friends. So that out of the way, granted, like I said, it is a unnatural, supernatural, at least ungodly way of getting into the spirit realm. You do get into it, and you see things that are not necessarily hallucinations. You might hear things, and you might be persuaded by some things. And as we know, the devil is a liar. He can disguise himself as an angel of light, but he's a liar, a thief, and a murderer. He wants to steal what you have with God. He wants to steal away your kids, your wife, anything really to do with anything that brings you joy, passions. One of my passions, you can see the motorcycle jacket, is my bike. It's actually, I'm looking at it right now, and God gave that to me. But back to the story, I did something illegal, and immediately, like a child, like, say, even a dog that you might, chastise or whatever for doing whatever, just kind of bowed my head and crawled to God's face. I said, I'm sorry. So I was in bed, and I was praying, and I said, God, this is not me. I'm sorry. I was kind of peer pressured into it, but not really. I have my own discernment, I have my own free will, so self-discipline. But that's what ended up happening, is I was praying in bed, and I had my eyes closed. And I was saying, God, I'm sorry. This isn't me. I don't want it to be part of me anymore. I'm sorry, and I love you. And while I had my eyes closed, the only way I can describe it is, it's almost like I closed my eyes again. And I went deeper, not into the darkness, but deeper within myself where God lives. God lives in your heart. So he will move into your heart, and he does. He's not lying. He's not the liar. And what I got from that is, later on I learned it's called being in the Spirit. And God essentially, he forgave me. He, in a way, and this is his hug, he had me in the palm of his hand, and he gently closed his other hand over me. So I was in the palm of God. And I know there's a verse that says how scary it is, or scary of a place it is to be in the palm of God, but I was repenting at that point. And why would you chastise your child if they're saying sorry already? Why would you give them more grief when they already know what they done was wrong? So that's what he did. He hugged me. And I have never, ever, and I might get into my past in a little while. I was adopted, so there wasn't much love in my childhood. But I have never felt such a deep, ancient, and I want to emphasize the word ancient. When you look at a car built in 1970, you know it's older. The model, the make, whatnot, the cylinders blasting off, the rumble of it, you know it's an older car. You can tell. And when you see a newer car, you can tell by the sleek model, the tech of the day. So through discernment, I could tell how absolutely ancient God was. And the love was so great. I've never felt anything like that before. And then another thing that happened, which still escapes my understanding today, is God let me in on a snippet of how time works. And it's really not linear. It's really not. It's circular. And the way that it was portrayed is every second repeats itself within a new second. Every minute repeats itself within 60 seconds. At 60 seconds, I should say. Every hour repeats itself at 60 minutes. A week repeats itself every 7 days. And with that, there is some kind of escape. So when I told my aunt and uncle, who are also spirit-led and filled, they told me about the angel in Exodus. Or I'm sorry, not Exodus. It wasn't Daniel. I have to look it up. I'm sorry, guys. But they told me about an angel with revolving rings around it. Rings with eyes. Ezekiel. I think it was Ezekiel. And it was something like that, but it wasn't. He essentially just gave me a snippet of how time worked. So these lessons, the trials and tribulations that we go through, they're bound to repeat themselves, and they will over and over and over until you get to the next level. And the next level is, only unlocked whenever you do God's will, whenever you are obedient enough. So with that was essentially the end of my vision. I kind of got out of the spirit, and I started immediately praising God because of his grace and his glory. I said God, and as I told you, I have not had a lot of love in my childhood. I was adopted at 7 years old from Warsaw, Poland, a very different place, and I told him right then and there, I said, God, everything that has ever happened to me in my life, it's okay, because I have a memory of you on earth. And to me, at that time, and even now, to have a memory of God, an actual experiential knowledge of God here on earth, like Daniel, like Peter, like he walks with you, like Abraham, he walks with you. And to have that is such a special thing. I mean, to have a relationship with God, and it is a relationship. It's not religion. I mean, what kind of religion do you have to have with your earthly father? Do you need to do one chore, two chore, three chore, and then all of a sudden he gives you a hug, job well done, you know, you've earned my love today? No. It's a relationship. And if you read the Bible from the beginning, you can see, I mean, after the fall, it was savagery. It was savagery. And he's been chasing us ever since then. He's been chasing us for thousands of years. And to him, you know, a day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day. Kind of going around, you know, going along with that circular time paradigm or phenomenon that I explained to you. But if you're out there and you're feeling lost, you feel like maybe you've been shelved, or, you know, God has never revealed himself to you in that way, it could be tomorrow. You know, just like failing until you finally get it. You're, I don't know, riding a bike or anything really, starting a business. It only takes one time to succeed, and then all of a sudden things start rolling out to you. And things get better. But you just gotta hang in there. We'll all have a desert season. That's one of the big tests. We'll have a desert season where we don't see any fruit, we don't see any growth. But like one man plants the seed, another waters, God makes it grow. And I heard an analogy the other day, it was really cool, is that sometimes, and I think it was talking about the tomato, just, you know, going around the basically how Jesus spoke, he used farming terminology because many of the people back then were in agriculture. But the tomato plant is sometimes put in a dark place. And the growth potential of that is it wants to seek light. So it grows and it grows and it grows, and it actually grows exponentially faster than in the sunlight. But it's also rough. So if you're out there and you're going through a rough time, just hang in there. Trust him. And although it's very hard sometimes, just trust him. Seek his face. Don't give up. Because you could be digging for 5 years, and that gold is just a foot away, and you give up. All that digging, all that suffering is not useless because you quit. Well, thank you guys. Bye.